Hi everyone, Blinky here. I feel like I should make a little bit of a foreword to this video before we get into things. If you want to skip to the blog reading itself, there will be a timestamp in the video description which will take you to it. For everyone else, thanks for listening to me ramble. So it's been a while since we've made a Game Dude video for the simple reason that I didn't think there was much else to talk about with the information we had readily available to us. While that may have been true at the time, things have changed significantly as a slew of Game Dude content has resurfaced recently. I'm not going to get into exactly how the content has resurfaced, at least not yet. I'll just say look out for a new Joon the King video, which I'll link in the description after it premieres. In the meantime, if you want to check out some previously lost Game Dude videos, go to Game Dude Official's channel, as well as my second account, Blinky10, both of which I'll leave links for in the video description. Today, though, we're not talking about his videos and instead are going to focus on Alexander's most massive endeavor, that being his blog called The Truth. I currently have access to all 14 pages of the blog, mine is one that gets cut off near the end, and I'm going to be reading them in a mini-series on this channel, which will be uploaded incrementally with our other projects. Now, before I get into it, I do want to make it clear that we will be censoring certain parts of the blog for both legal and privacy reasons. We still will not be showing video or audio of Alana, nor revealing her full name. We will also not be showing court documents here, which were part of the blog, nor revealing the identities of other people involved like Alexander and Alana's mothers. Beyond all that though, we're going to try to make this reading as accurate to Game Dude's original intention as possible, and 99.9% of what's here will be verbatim what he wrote. This is going to be a long haul, so grab some popcorn, smoke a joint, and buckle up for the ride. Without further ado, this is The Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. By Alexander Bader. Chapter 1, The Story. Alana, my first love, also first date, girlfriend, handhold, kiss, and sex. And best friend for around 3 years, spread false accusations about me. I hate to do this, but because she is cowardly and refuses to communicate, I must reveal the truth to everyone in order to reverse the defamation of character. She threw too many pawns at me, so it is time to unleash the queen. I met her on a dating site called Tagged over 4 years ago when I was 21, and we were in a closed relationship for nearly 3. We agreed to be in an open relationship, but so long as we only continued to love each other the most. We went to the same nightclub by Major Fluke one night. I was drunk while grinding another girl when she approached me out of nowhere. Because she stole the spotlight, we danced closely until she told me she was going to rejoin her other friends. While walking away, she promised to dance with me later again. Then I saw a complete stranger with his arm around her. Whether or not you're in an open relationship, ditching a dance with someone you've loved the most for nearly 3 years to flirt with a random stranger is cruel. We also danced together only once before. I thought he'd leave if he thought I was her boyfriend, so I tried to get intimate with her. Then I vocally and physically, yet subtly, tried to persuade her to get her to dance with me again to fulfill her promise and get her away. To my knowledge, neither of them vocally or physically informed me to go away. I wasn't focusing on their lips, and whatever they might have said was drowned out by loud music. She was just standing there. I was so confused. Why would she betray me for a complete stranger? Part of me thought she was merely being shy. Sometimes after a little motivation, she'll happily jump out of her shell. They actually watched the bouncers drag me out just a few seconds later. I felt so betrayed. Enraged, I took a taxi to her apartment, climbed over her gate. I was too impatient to wait for someone to open it for me, and pounded on her door. Because she opened it and let me in, my existence wasn't unwanted, and therefore I didn't trespass. You committed assault and battery. Bullshit. I was too subtle to create a reasonable apprehension of harm, and none of the contact was offensive to a reasonable person. You were dancing aggressively. She couldn't have told me that before? Maybe I was a bad dancer. Maybe dancing closely wasn't her thing. I was drunk, and I would have toned it down a notch. You promised to dance with me again later. I just said that to get away from you. That would have been understandable had I actually bugged her. I was on a date. You couldn't have told me that before? I didn't want to upset you. We were in an open relationship. How could I have cared? I would have left immediately. Did she not see me grind that girl? What, I'm allowed to grind other girls, but she's not allowed to bring a date to a nightclub if I'm there by Major Fluke? I actually would have been upset had she not rejoined him. Perhaps she didn't want to dance closely with me because her date, Andrew, was around. Because I had never seen her date or her friends before, I thought she was surrounded by strangers while flirting with one. She could have introduced me to them and we could have all partied together. I actually feel bad for them because they must have thought that I was a complete stranger. The date probably told the bouncers that I was trying to steal his girl. I doubt she even knew that she was in an open relationship. She was completely sober, and even though she was the only one with all the answers, she bottled what everyone needed to know as if we could read her mind. Due to a giant misunderstanding, I unknowingly humiliated myself in front of everyone, but without the answers, everything had to happen. It's as if she unintentionally set them up. I'm dancing aggressively? Then tell me. You're on a date? Then tell me. You don't want to dance with me later? Then don't promise to. Want me to go away? Then be honest. Be loud and actually push me away if you think you have to. I eventually told her that I don't want to have sex with her anymore because she wasn't being nice and I hated the open relationship due to her inability to communicate. I just wanted to be friends, but she kept bugging me to have sex with her every day until she looked me in the eyes and promised to only have sex with me. She even told me that she doesn't want to kiss other guys. I finally trusted her, promised to only have sex with her. We became boyfriend and girlfriend without the titles, and now I can never trust a girl again. I'm the game dude on YouTube. My channel had over 300,000 views, and she had a couple of videos on my channel, but now they're on a Trolls. Then he provides the links for Alana's box art reviews, which were on Game Dude Official's account at the time. She's well known on YouTube, and everybody knows that she was my girlfriend. I had linked my tagged profile on my YouTube channel, and she was basically my only tagged friend. A troll found her through my YouTube channel and tested her loyalty for hilarity before sending me screen captures of their conversation that looks like a Mad TV comedy sketch via Facebook. A few days after we promised each other to only have sex with each other, she immediately planned, attempted cheating is still cheating, to have sex with an invasive internet stranger immediately after coffee at his house. She immediately gave him her number and stabbed me in the heart when I saw her at the specified time and place. The guy never showed up because he's not even real. I wouldn't be surprised if his profile was completely empty. I angrily waltzed inside of the Starbucks, humiliated her by dropping the printed conversation on the table while saying, "This terminates our friendship," walked away, and I wish I never looked back. Once the anger that masked the unbearable pain subsided a few hours later, I couldn't stop calling her because I cared about her too much, and I just wanted to kill the flames that engulfed my heart, but instead of apologizing or even trying to convince me that she did nothing wrong, she cowardly ignored me until a real guy, Nick, picked up the phone. "Alana doesn't want to talk to you. I'm her boyfriend and I'm gonna fuck her tonight." "He's just joking," she dismissively said in the background. Bullshit. She was probably juggling 10 secret boyfriends that all thought she was loyal. I knew there was Andrew, Nick, the troll, and 2 other guys, Gwyn and Thomas, but before Alana and I entered back in a closed relationship, I couldn't have cared if she had an orgy with all of them. "You promised me, just you and me." "I just said that because you were being annoying." "Just said that? Just promised? Lied? Because I was being annoying? By refusing?" She lied to have sex with me, thus fraudulently gained my consent, thereby raped me when we French kissed in her room, and got intimate, and we would have had sex had her psycho mom not interrupted us, numerously had the troll never given me the truth. If she'd immediately had sex with the worst guy, why wouldn't she immediately have sex with every other guy? I never would have even kissed her had I known she was secretly going to continue having sex with every other man on this planet, so long as they have a cock. She could have given me every STD while I thought she was loyal. "Why were you going to have sex with him?" "Because he asked me to." I feel so bad for her. How could a beautiful university graduate and law school student have no self-value? If she has over 12,000 profile views, doesn't give a fuck about loyalty, and all you have to do to have sex with her is ask, how many times has she actually cheated on me? How many times would she have continued to cheat on me? I can't believe I actually thought I was super lucky to have her when anyone could have her. After continuing to twist the dagger in my heart, she continued to ignore my calls after he made her hang up, and I kept calling her back until the police answered to tell me to never talk to her again. She killed me and died within 2 days. To run away from herself with her tail between her legs, she selfishly pretended to care about the deserved humiliation, assumption that I was associated with the troll when I had nothing to do with the troll, and numerous phone calls that would never have been numerous had she never cowardly kept trying to ignore me, more than cheating on me. She doesn't realize that she would have been far more annoyed had I never looked back, for she would have feared that I stopped caring about her, and therefore probably would have been the one who wouldn't stop calling. I had just moved close to her, and she's only ever been to my new home once. Because we wanted to live close to each other, she kept threatening to stop coming to my home in New Westminster because it was too far away. I now live a 10-minute walk, 7 avenues in one street, away from her home, that's right by Arbutus Street and West 4th Avenue, a major street and major avenue. I kept running into her because there are a lot of places that I love to go that are very close to her home, yet still close to mine. When I ran into her a few days later, she told me that she can't see me for 5 months, even though she had just told the police to tell me that she never wants to see me again. I gave her a necklace when I ran into her again a few days later. "I don't want it," she said, and she stuffed it into her bag. I did nothing wrong. I wasn't going to sleep with him. Bullshit. Instead of crawling out of the hole by actually trying to convince me that she did nothing wrong, she immediately dug herself all the way down to China, and she hates the Chinese for invading Canada. We did allow each other to date other people, but we had to inform each other if we were going to be intimate with the other person. Although she did let me know that she was going to meet the troll, she'd never told me she was going to have sex with him. It's too late for her to tell me that she lied to him, or that she was going to tell me that she was going to have sex with him just before doing so. She even ignored me when I kept calling and texting her 1 hour before she planned to meet him. We did fight a few times after we promised, but after every resolution, she always assured me that nothing changed. Later on, because she continued to ignore my calls and my phone ran out of texts, I texted her on a demo iPhone, but after I forgot to erase the history, when I returned, I saw that she was bombarded with texts from strangers that comedically impersonated me. "You didn't want to sleep with me anyway," she says when she finally answered the phone again. "I did after we promised." We haven't hung out since the day her psycho mom interrupted us because she cheated just a few days later. She got so jealous when I told her that I have a new girlfriend that she admitted to being a bitch and actually called me back to tell me that we'd hang out again next week, but only if I brought the girl to prove that she's real. She even, jokingly, told me to dump the girl right in front of her and bugged me to have sex with her again. What if I want to be more than just friends? I was so eager to finally talk to everything over in person, but she gave me nothing but false hope. For 1 week later, she told me that she can't hang out because she's too sick. I knew she was lying, feared she had spontaneously changed her mind about ever wanting to see me again, and just wanted the nightmare to end, for my broken heart couldn't endure another second of being torturously played with. Her home is one of the fastest routes between mine and Shoppers Drug Mart. I saw her by her gate by Major Fluke one day on my way back home from Shoppers. "When may we talk again on the phone?" "Another time," she evasively replied just before the elevator doors closed. Perhaps she thought I was stalking her, but why would I do that at 10:30 p.m., when she usually sleeps before 10 p.m., and in the cold when, just 2 days prior, she might have actually had a cold and been too sick to hang out. I saw that she was clearly lying though, for she was nicely dressed and didn't even look or sound sick. Did she miraculously recover within 2 days? She left me in the dark when I thought our friendship was reviving. I was so confused. How did she immediately go from bugging me to have sex with her again to avoiding me like the plague again? Her home is also one of the fastest routes between Culprit Coffee and mine. I went to Culprit for a hot chocolate the following morning after 9:30 a.m., the time that I assumed that she had always started school, to avoid running into her again so soon, as I didn't want her to think that I was stalking her. However, because she actually started school at 11 a.m. on that day, on my way back home, I saw her yet again by her gate by Major Fluke when I heard it open at 10:15 a.m. I should have kept walking, but due to my reigning eagerness to know what was going on, I walked diagonally onto the yard toward her. Perhaps she called me a psychopath when I talked to her because she assumed I had been hiding behind the non-obscuring bushes that were between us until she walked by, when in actuality, I was merely standing behind them for 2 seconds due to hesitation. Whatever she thought was nothing but a giant illusion, because I truly did run into her by her gate 2 days in a row by Major Fluke. She never ran or told me to go away when I walked with her to talk to her, although she did confusingly emote it. Perhaps I would have read her facial expressions had my judgment not been so clouded due to the fact that I was enslaved by my own emotions, for bottling them was letting a rhinoceros stab its horn through my stomach. I wasn't thinking rationally, and had not any immunity to heartbreak or experience at handling the situation. She walked a bit fast, but I thought she was merely late to school. She told me that she'd call me later, but part of me could tell that she was lying, and I couldn't tolerate the mind games anymore. I just wanted her to tell me why she was spontaneously ignoring me. Did she need more space? Again, she bottled the truth while assuming I could read her mind. I hand-signaled her to stop, stepped aside a few seconds later once I realized she wouldn't, and assumed she didn't because she would have been late for school. Once my heart told me that she's gone forever, by impulse, I hugged her and started crying. "I'm sorry, I love you." She silently, heartlessly, and emotionlessly just stood there like a statue. An intervening man, quite unlike the one who told me to go with her when she cried while trying to pull me into a taxi, came out of nowhere and told me to walk away, and she'll come back if she loves me. I let her go a few seconds later, once I realized she wasn't going to hug me back. I stopped walking with her shortly after. She turned around and said bye, and walked away. To my knowledge at the time, she never clearly indicated, vocally or physically, that she actually wanted me to go away. I waited for her to return that afternoon 1 block away from her home, to play a song that she likes for her with my saxophone to make her talk. I ran toward her when I saw her ignore me 1 block away, to again, act like a big, annoying baby, while I walked with her to talk to her. I grabbed her hand, but she eventually threw it away. "I know you still love me." "I hate you." Hate is love. She eventually stopped when I hand-signaled her again, but instead of listening to me, I had to grab her phone to stop her from calling the police. I gave it back when she told me that she'd call me later that day, but then she called her mom to rescue her, even though she was never in any threat of danger, and even if she was, what could her mom have done that she couldn't? I would have stepped aside had she persisted to keep walking, and although I would have continued to walk with her until I reached her gate, that was only 1 block away, I would have left or ran had she told me to. She never had to call anyone, acted like a bigger baby than me, and artificially worsened the situation when all she ever had to do to calm me down was tell me what she was fearfully bottling. As they walked toward the back of their apartment, I held her because I feared that once she stepped through that door, she would be gone forever. "It's over! I never want to see you again!" she shouted. "I just want to die!" I cried as I let go and fell to the ground. "Then die," she devilishly replied before she cowardly sprinted through the door as if that was the chance to escape. I tried to keep the door open to keep talking, but soon let go when her mom persisted to close it. The silence that follows kills me to this day, and I couldn't stop crying. 2 days later, the police called me again, tell me to never talk to her again, but again, she occasionally conversed with me via email and in person after that, and even stopped to listen to me a few times, thus nullifying the second police warning. She accused me of waiting for her at the bus stop when we were both going to UBC, and my 9:30 a.m. Monday and Wednesday tennis lessons coincided with her classes. Because we shared the same bus stop since we lived in the same area, every now and then, we were going to arrive at it around the same time. Did she not notice that every other time she saw me, it was Monday or Wednesday, and I was always holding a tennis racket? Sure, I could have gone out of my way to avoid her, but why should I have rewritten my life to go around her negative existence? Of course I took advantage of the situation by asking her a few questions that she answered. Once I discovered that she was spreading false accusations about me, the last time I saw her at the bus stop to go to my tennis lessons, I told her to stop or I would call the police. She called her mom like a little baby, and after I told her not to enter the bus, she hypocritically tried to at the last second. She accused me of harassing her when I was usually as nice to her as possible, and always tried my best to make peace. Hypocritically accused me of spreading internet rumors about her when I never revealed her identity, and only talked about the situation to show her that everyone thinks she cheated. And forcing her to take a $158 necklace, $1,210 diamond ring that I sold all of my consoles for, and a handwritten apology letter when she took them willingly and almost immediately from my hand. I saw her wearing the necklace on the bus one day. Did I force her to wear it too? "Hey, you're wearing the necklace I gave you." "Yeah, well," she replied as she tried to hide it with her hand. "I never cheated. We were broken up," she told my mom. "We promised to only have sex with each other. That closed our relationship." She told my mom that I attacked her, tried to convince her that I assaulted her, and also told my mom that I assaulted her several days in a row by her house. All I did was hold her twice and grab her phone to stop her from calling the police. That all happened in one day, so how could she get several, 3 or more, in a row? I merely saw her the day before, and never saw her at all the day after. The police report states there was no assault, and she herself actually told the police that there was never any violence between us, which is still a lie, for she, a lawyer, ironically slapped me on the chest 6 times and bit me out of anger when we were in a closed relationship. If you think a man holding a woman is worse than a woman hitting and biting a man, you're still trying to milk the double standard after it fully drained. She accused me of stalking her even though she had ironically stalked me 2 cities away, and I kept telling her to go away, clearly emoted it, and ran a few times. Almost every time after we saw each other, it was a coincidence. I only planned to see her once, and she actually planned to see me twice. Excluding the night I had to stand up for myself, eventually I was always happy to leave her alone immediately after she clearly indicated that she wanted me to. I only didn't a few times nearer to the beginning when I was enslaved by my own emotions. Hi Alana, go away. Okay. She's so self-centered that she doesn't realize how unreasonable and hypocritical it was to report the holding and following, and how unfair, for I've never reported her. According to her, it doesn't matter that she actually assaulted me numerous times and followed me worse, for it was all a long time ago. Well, everything she thinks I did was a long time ago now too. Therefore, it shouldn't matter anymore, correct? After the second police warning, she replied 15 times, 11 to actually converse, to 45 additional giant emails, mainly the negative or explanatory ones, within the following 5 months. I used psychological tricks to make her talk. I tried guilting her by yelling, crying, or explaining and regaining her interest by apologizing, acting cheerful, or acting like the troll. Unfortunately, the tactics backfired once I overly milked them out of desperation. I can't blame myself for trying every trick in the book, and I still played my cards right to make sure I was never actually stalking or harassing her. I only called her excessively for 2 days after she cheated on me, 3 days after she lied about being sick, and 1 day after she hung up on me and told me to go away, after I called her drunk after 1 month of no contact. I was still drunk when I tried to overdose on Advil that evening. Part of me knew that 10 pills weren't going to be enough, and they didn't do anything. I couldn't endure the nightmare anymore, and I just wanted her to talk to me again. Forgive me even though I acted justifiably, and apologize or convince me that she did nothing wrong. She was my world, and even though she killed me inside, I felt like I was actually going to die if she truly never wants to talk to me again. I knew I didn't deserve her, but my heart simply conquered my mind. I never cried so much in my life. I hate that I still can't get her out of my head. She keeps coming back when certain songs play and it's brain cancer. It was torture when I was stuck in her area, for everything constantly reminded me of her. My rent was only $320 per month, and I couldn't afford to live elsewhere. It sickens me so much how she could cheat on me and then try to cut me out of her life, as if I was a useless toy that she broke and wasn't worth fixing. She used to make me feel special. Now she makes me feel like a psychopath because I reacted strongly to being heartbroken. Everything isn't right. We had even promised to be friends forever no matter what. I was always there for her when she needed me and was the only person she could talk to about anything. She didn't have any other close friends, and now I know why nobody likes her. The few close friends I ever had eventually revealed themselves to be pieces of shit that I never want to see again. The last 3 took their masks off simultaneously, leaving me stuck in hell alone. 'Twas the hoe that triggered the domino effect. May karma rape every piece of shit that ever hurt me. I wish I could erase her from my memory, for the happy memories sting just as much as the sad ones. The only reason I ever wanted to revive our friendship was because I kept forcing myself to believe that everything was a giant misunderstanding. But I eventually hit the brick wall when she couldn't answer a simple question and was forced to face the reality that she only hates me because she got caught and is too big of a coward to apologize. How can apologizing to her do anything when she only hates me for having known her dirty little secret that she's not exactly a goody girl? Nothing else makes much sense. Every now and then I'd see her mom leering at me while piercing into my soul. Turns out she was monitoring me like a hawk to journal my nearby existence. Alana sent her to bug me twice, and then Alana bugged me twice herself. Once, while surfing on YouTube on my iPhone on a bench, I heard a voice and looked up to see that she was standing right in front of me. She scolded me, asked me to move away, and left while stopping me from standing up for myself by ordering me not to follow her. Because I was practically jobless, suicidally depressed, and could only escape the nightmarish reality that she bestowed on me by absorbing herself into the digital world known as the internet, I frequently sat outside on benches in free Wi-Fi by Lucky's. You can't see her home from them, the weather was occasionally beautiful, the air was fresh, I could talk loudly on Skype, didn't have to buy anything, didn't have internet at home, and could bring food from anywhere. She hated that she kept seeing me outside, but I should be allowed to mind my own business wherever I want, and for as long as I want in my own area that she happens to share. It's not my fault that Culprit and its salted chocolate chip cookies and Lucky's Donuts and its root beer float donuts are so close to her home, yet still so close to mine. The fact that my mere existence irritates her is proof that she still has feelings for me, albeit negative ones, but those still count, for hate is love. She should have shown indifference by not caring about my existence at all, and why would I stalk her out in the open while I'm looking at my iPhone? You'd think I'd be more discreet, and she could have been standing right in front of me for half an hour before I noticed her. Why should I even have to justify everything I do in my own area? She never wants to see me again because every time she does, she remembers how much she hates herself for being so disloyal, but why should I have to be banished from my own area so that she can run away from herself? I never cheated on her. She should have moved away. A few days later, while looking down, blowing my nose, and walking home one night, I suddenly heard her hypocritically say, "Ew, that's disgusting!" I looked up to see her crossing her arms while waiting for me to walk up to her. She stopped at the intersection when she heard me constantly blow my nose, so I looked to the right and saw me walking a bit of a distance away. She assumed that I saw her exit the bus on Vine and 4th, and planned to cross paths with her on U and 5th. However, if that was the case, why was I walking slowly, looking down, and blowing my nose instead of walking at a medium pace to catch up, looking straight, and keeping quiet? Why was I at a bit of a distance away? Had she never insulted me, I never would have known she was there. She was 1 block away from her home where she was heading, while I was going to walk by it for it was en route between Culprit, where I was just at, stealing Wi-Fi, and my home. She knew where I lived and therefore had to have known this, and because she went out of her way to synchronize her journey with mine by waiting for me to walk up to her, she should have gone out of her way to desynchronize them. I told her via email to let me know if she wants me to avoid her home, but she never did. She totally freaked me out and provoked me while I was still bottling Satan in a thin glass jar. Because I was trying my best to make peace, and had just given her a handwritten apology letter and a diamond ring, the jar exploded and Satan was released. Again, she scolded me before again, walking away while ordering me not to follow her, to stop me from standing up for myself. Was she going to keep playing this childish game? I apologized for everything. At least be nice to me. Why do you still hate me? I asked. You're a psychopath, she hypocritically replied. As we yelled at each other, her mom came out to join the battle, followed by their neighbors. Were you going to have sex with that guy? I looked her in the eyes and asked. Her lips quivered while she cowardly entered her gate, and that's when I knew the truth. She sent the police to bug me shortly after, and I told them to tell her to leave me alone. They refused to hear my side of the story because I refused to give them my address. They bugged me again a few days later to accuse me of bugging her earlier that day when I never even saw her. They made me believe that she was lying to them. Because they were already on her side, in order to get them to stop framing me, I told her to stop calling them or I would send the tagged conversation to all of her friends. That threat was justified for I had done nothing. To my knowledge at the time, she would have continued to lie to them until they arrested me. She didn't listen, sent the email to them, they arrested me a few days later. They were probably going to do so anyway. I spent the night in jail, had a giant forbidden square in front of my home, and wasn't allowed to go to UBC until the matter was settled in court, which took forever because it kept getting adjourned. I never followed through with the threat. The particulars include the psychopathic mother's journal, and only my last email. They don't include my call history, and she either deleted my other emails, was too lazy to find them amidst all her spam, or she purposefully didn't include them because they clashed with her case. The police circled my home, literally stalked me, and even bugged me for being very close to the Forbidden Square, even though I lived by it. After I told my story to everyone on Skype, a bunch of trolls got her number, she's known on YouTube and gives it out immediately, and kept leaving her voice messages until they filled her inbox. The police, without a warrant, broke into my home, the door was unlocked but I had never let them inside, to ask questions. I told them that I never told anyone to call her. The trolls did that on her own, and I'm glad they did, and they only mentioned the ring because I mentioned it every time I told the story. Once it was mentioned, she gave it back to me through the police because she didn't want it anymore, and I'm glad I got it back because she doesn't deserve it. She told the police that I forced it into her hands when she willingly and immediately took it from mine. One day my roommate tried to hit me with a frying pan, so I ran away from the house and became homeless. I chose not to move elsewhere because I hated being watched by the police. I had ceased all contact with my family, so when my mom came to the house, she discovered that I wasn't there anymore and called the police to report that I was missing, which made them believe that I was running away from court. Next thing you know, I also had to fight a breach of recognizance. I was later given the choice to accept a peace bond or continue with the trial, which risked me going to prison. I chose the trial because I did nothing wrong. I feared going to prison every day, but I wanted to go up and speak the truth. The breach of recognizance was later dropped, and on the day of the trial, the harassment case was dropped too, robbing me of my chance to stand up for myself. I was unable to speak the truth at the trial, which is partly why I'm doing it now. She knew that she was going to lose, and is a coward for running away at the last second. I can't watch certain movies anymore, and have to leave immediately when certain songs play or I'll cry. Everything that happened is so ridiculous, and everyone overreacted so much that the story needs to be turned into a comedy movie. I've never been forced to endure so much stupid in all my life. As much as I never want to see her again, I still want her to apologize or convince me that she did nothing wrong. So far, she had only nitpicked my minor mistakes that were nothing but justified reactions to her heartlessness and artificially inflated them to compensate for her guilt. She needs to realize that everything she did to me is evil, or history will inevitably repeat itself to the next guy that I already feel sorry for. I am actually concerned about her because one day she's going to follow a serial killer home and not come out. She gave me a gift when she cowardly cut me out of her life to avoid taking responsibility for her actions. I hate her, hate that she hates me, and if she only hates me for justifiably reacting to her cruelty, she has not a clue how hurtful she is. She is humiliated because I saw her under her mask, formed a negative image of me solely from her illogical assumptions, as if she deliberately misunderstood and misinterpreted everything to trick herself into hating me instead of herself, and hides from the truth in her own little fantasy world, where she can take any true criticism about her, magically morph it into a self-believing lie, and then kick it back into your face, and it truly fascinates me. It really is a world where emotions triumph over logic. How can you emotionally reason with someone? With her, everything bounces off a stubborn wall of illogical hatred. She forces herself to believe that I was the troll so that she can cowardly channel her self-hatred toward me. She has no other reason to not believe me. If I was actually the troll and had she actually passed the test, then maybe she'd have the right to hate me, but I wasn't and she failed. She never even tried. She looks like such a goody girl and even criticizes other girls for looking slutty. How is it that this beautiful university graduate and law school student is such a whore and a half herself? She single-handedly makes me believe that if I like you, it's because I don't know you well enough. She also hates me for humiliating her at Starbucks in front of a bunch of people that she'll never see again. She doesn't realize that she deserved it and did it to herself. To admit that she's wrong is to face the truth, and that she can't handle. She either wants to be right so badly that she's tricking herself to believe it, she's tremendously stupid for believing that everything is my fault, or she's just an evil, heartless whore. I was a big enough man to apologize for all of my mistakes, and I feel bad for her, because she's too big of a coward to even acknowledge any of hers. She's unbelievably selfish, unappreciative, ungrateful, unreasonable, irrational, stubborn, unforgiving, and unapologetic. Unless she apologizes, I will never forgive her. She either doesn't want me in her life because she knows I don't deserve to be in her life anymore, or she buried me under a rock after she lit me on fire to run away from the tears and screams overwhelming her guilt. I wish that I could run away from the nightmares as she still haunts me. I hate that she'd made me care about her so much over 3 years before she stabbed me in the heart. Because hate shields love, I'll always hate her because I'll always love the girl she was, or the girl I thought she was. I miss that girl so much, but I must face the fact that the girl I fell in love with is either dead or never existed. She either changed or always hid under a mask. Perhaps everything I thought was a lie. By intrinsically supporting her over me, the psycho mom, blind to the fact that she's had a reverse effect on her daughter for being so overprotective, along with the man-hating law, pushed her into further brainwashing herself to believe her own ridiculous web of lies. They've done her an incredible disservice, for now she's at the bottom of her own whirlpool that exists in a cowardly survival tactic to shield her own unbearable guilt, where she is far beyond any hope of rescue. I hate my disloyal friends and circumcising parents, and I wish I could leave this horrid planet so that I can be alone in peace. Mankind is one giant joke that I'm stuck in. I hate it, but one day I will hurl this giant rock off of my back. Please copy this blog in case the police shut it down. Got you covered there, Alex. I'll do so myself if she apologizes or convinces me that she did nothing wrong. I want to believe that I ruined everything, but I hit a brick wall. I never wanted to do this, but she hurt me too badly. She refuses to talk, ignored all of my warnings, and I gave her too many chances to redeem herself. This is my justice, because no one would help me. I'm prepared to go back to jail for it, and as much as it hurts, no justice hurts me. It's either this or suicide, and unfortunately for her, I'm not a fucking coward. This is my way out. I couldn't endure the pain any longer. Now I can finally heal and move on. I didn't do this just for me. I also did it for her and everyone else she hurt. She will apologize for everyone including herself, and not do to the next unfortunate guy anything that she did to me. I will not allow it on my planet. Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as the ones who are. Compliments to Benjamin fucking Franklin. One day she'll realize what she's lost, but she should have helped me revive our friendship when I was still brainwashing myself, for now that my mind is cleared, I'm gone forever and I never want to see her again. The biggest mistake I made was looking back. No one else would have done so. At least now I know she's even worse than I thought. Then at the end of this page, Alex links the Penn and Teller bullshit circumcision episode and the Alana story part 1.